when you're working with an application, you're going to have data. And that data obviously has to be stored somewhere. And I just wasted 30 seconds of your life by telling you that. But in reality, we all know that. And Azure is built, and a core component of Azure is built to provide you with a scalable and massively scalable, flexible system of storage that really provides storage for a variety of data types. And they all have an API, and it's a fairly consistent API. It differs from type to type because what you do with the different types of storage is going to differ. All right? So if you're writing an application, we already know that I don't know why that's my application. That's an on-site application though, right? One type of storage that we know is provided that we've already talked about is you've got Azure, let's put an S there, SQL DB, right? So we know that we've got our relational database covered, our relational data covered, but we have a variety of other types of data covered as well that are available to us. For example, we've got table storage, which may sound like relational data, but it's not. We're going to see what table storage is, how that differs from relational databases. We've got blob storage, which is basically file storage, file type storage. All right. We've got, I'm running out of room here, queue storage. We've mentioned queues before. We are going to take a look at those in some depth. And we've got file shares, file system. Let's say file share. So we have all of these different types of storage that are available to us in the Azure environment. And we've already, as I said, we've already covered the SQL database. We're going to talk about the others. They're all related to something called a storage account. So everything but the Azure SQL database. If I want to use table storage or blob storage or queue storage or file share storage, the very first thing that I need to do is I need to create a storage account. That is always the starting point. Once I have the storage account, then I can create whatever it is, the table. We'll just say table here, but that's representative of the rest of them, right? And then when I create these, I may create additional things underneath. For example, when I have blob storage, I'm going to create a container underneath the blob storage, all of which we'll talk about. But this is the idea. I want to provide storage capabilities to my applications. I want to provide them with at least a consistent API. It's not always going to be the same because I'm using these for different purposes, but you'll see a lot of consistency between them. Also, I have to be able to access this. Right? It has to be some way to access this. Once you create a storage account, every storage account is then provided with endpoints, public endpoints, for each one of these types of storage. And there's a specific structure for that. All right, and the URL is, it would be your account name, whatever that is. Then it would be the type. So let's say I'm accessing blob storage. So it would be account.blob. Then the rest is core. Core. Yeah, okay, that is right. core.windows.net. Okay. So if I have an account ABC, and you won't be able to get the account ABC because I'm sure that's already been taken, all right, then, and if I wanted to access a blob with that account, I would start out with account.blob.core.windows.net. Now, in the case of a blob, I'd have a few things after that, the container and the blob ID, for example. If I wanted to get to table data, I'd use the same approach, account.table.core.windows.net, and then additional information to retrieve the table information, right? But this gives me a consistency. And by the way, that's all protected as well, and we'll talk about how that's protected, and they're all protected with the same basic approach to a very flexible security architecture. So we're going to go through this. We're going to start out talking about tables, but this is the overall idea of storage capabilities provided via Azure.